all you lovely people. Thanks for coming.
Hello, coming in.
So I'm introducing Amke this morning. She's all the way from Germany, but she's happened to become a Kiwi, which is really cool. And she's incredibly multi-talented. She actually made these for us. So that was the thing that she does. And Amke and I are not only vegans, we're also whole food plant-based. So this today is all about really whole foods and low oil and really good nourishing food for the body. And we both study nutrition, and it's quite a deep course to really understand the effects that food has on the body, so that she can just improve what she's putting out in her little catering company that she has. She's already allergy free, which is awesome, so that as many people as possible can eat what she provides. But today, we talked about what could we do, what could you do, and we thought that it's salad time, and people really want to eat salads, but let's get some really good dressings on there. So that was the idea for today. So I shall leave it over.
Yeah. Thanks for the introduction. Steph is a good friend, my mentor, and my assistant for today, and she brought me onto the level like taking vegan next step and going whole foods and ditching the oils for health reasons. So I'm really grateful for the kind of coaching as well. And there's something, I don't know if you've seen any other speeches today, if you've been to, if you've seen Neil Bernard, or like if you go around, you'll probably be aware that going whole foods and going oil free is a coming movement at the moment. So, and we thought salad dressings are quite often like laden with oil. It's like really full. Still making salads interesting and healthy and nutritious, as sometimes we struggle with finding, okay, what can I put over them apart from nothing or just banana. So that's what we're going to do today. I'll show you 3 different dressings. I've got a list up here where you can put your email later on, so I'll send you the recipes as a printable PDF per email if you want to make them at home, which I really would like to. They are all really easy. I'm just going to chop up everything, chuck it in the blender, blend it till it's smooth, and then it's done. You store it in the fridge, and you can put over your salad as I said. You can use them over your steamed veggies, or like just steam them. So they're really versatile, and I'm using this big blender today because I'm doing a double batch to have enough of tasters so that you can come around later on and have a little taste of all of them. If you've got like a NutriBullet or this kind of blender, they all go really well, work really well in here as well. Or if you've just got a stick blender at home, works fine too, just takes a little bit longer, but they are all really easy. You might need to chop your veggies a little bit smaller if you just have a stick blender. I'm using the big jug to have enough for you to have a taste as well. Hi, come in. I just haven't really started, so I'm just still sorting. I'm starting with lemon vinaigrette, and a vinaigrette is usually just like at least half of it is oil. So it's quite interesting how to make it oil free. And I'll do that with chia seeds. So these are white chia seeds and ground up. They're a little bit sweaty because I store them in fridge to help them keep. And I'll start with organic dates. There's quite a few different varieties and stores of dates that you can buy if you can want to afford the natural dates, which are really soft and juicy. Then you might can just pop them in the blender. These are a little bit harder. So I soak them in water overnight to make them nice and soft. That's all I do to it. So if your dates are a little bit on the drier harder side, just soak them. They're already soft and juicy. Hi, Air, come in. There's still a few seats there. Okay, and because it's a lemon vinaigrette, I've got heaps of lemon. What I like to do with lemons is, like I don't know if you're all local here, but you're really happy living up in a warmer climate up here, up north. So you might even have a lemon tree in your garden, or you know someone who has a lemon tree in the garden. And so if they're spray-free and wax-free, please use the zest of it. There's heaps of like the goodness sits in the zest. But if you buy them stored in the store, look out that you get hopefully organic, at least spray-free and wax-free. Otherwise, probably don't use the zest because there's heaps of the spray sitting in there. There are different ways to use it. I've got like a zester here, which is more really for decorating, and you can make like really long and nice, really thin strips, which are nice if you use the zest like as part of decorating on top of something else. You can just use a little grater as well to get the zest. I found both of these in an op shop, so if you don't have any of this as well, just keep your eyes open. Hi, yeah, just coming in. There's still a few seats in the corner. Just started out. So I'm just gonna start with one lemon and get the zest of it. And what you want to look for with the zest, because it's so potent, you don't want to overuse it because it can go bitter. And also you don't want to go deeper than this. The white part is really bitter and it doesn't contain any nutrients for you. So you want to keep the zesting light, but you want to do the zesting. And then I'll use this lemon and another maybe 4 lemons to get the juice. So this is double the recipe. Just put it in the blender.
It's interesting because I know to do that, but I so often forget. I know to do that, but I so often forget.
Yes, to really use the zest, yeah. And it gives like an extra boost to it. So it is, because it is so potent, it's way more lemony than just the juices. And there are even some varieties of lemons. Where was it that we found these finger lemons on the farmer's market? That was in Tauranga, wasn't it? The really funny, like kind of creepy looking
Alien-like
finger lemons. Hello. And they are more really just using the zest of it. They don't have that much juice. So however you juice your lemons, is if you put them on your board and give them a little roll, that will make it easier to get the juice out as well. So you can do a test at home, do one, roll one, and use another one that you haven't rolled before, and you will probably find that with the one that you rolled, you get like quite a bit amount more juice out of it, even if you do the same kind of method, juicing it like I do. My jug. And I wrote the recipe in a way where this is like an approximate amount of juice that you might want to get, because either lemon is a little bit different, and those dressings are really forgiving. So it's half a cup of lemon juice. If you end up doing 2 lemons and it's just like under or over half a cup, check it in, don't worry about it. It's all meant to be really easy, and I don't go for using a quarter of lemon juice because the rest sits just in the fridge and isn't that nice anymore. So I'll keep it easy. If it's these are actually from a neighbour's garden, and they don't have much seeds in them. So I quite often use the flesh as well that comes out, because that's just would be a shame to let it go to waste. And I'm going to blend it up anyway, so it doesn't matter. If I just would want to use the juice for something else and need it like a super watery juice, then yeah. But if I use it in baking and it's like in something else, the flesh just adds more lemon and goodness to it. It doesn't make the difference that it's a little bit chunky. So I'm aiming for 1 cup lemon juice now. Using lemon vinaigrette over a salad, the lemon juice, the vitamin C in it and the acidity in it quite often helps to break down the nutrients in greens. And if you eat a lot of raw greens in your salad, if you eat spinach and kale, for example, raw, you have anti-nutrients in it that like when we eat it raw, our bodies can't really deal with it and don't get the goodness completely out of it. So but if you use lemon juice on it, it helps our body to break it down. And yeah.
Does lime do the same thing?
Yes, the acidity in it is the key. So if you use lime juice, that's absolutely fine as well. Or if you use a vinegar in it, that's the same thing too.
Now that makes sense why Hessel Steam says always put balsamic vinegar on your steamed greens.
Yes.
I've always wanted to know what that is.
Although, like when you steam your veggies, then you have like a kind of same effect for your body as well, to make it able to lose the anti-nutrients and make it available for your body. So this is pretty much a cup now. Just put everything in. So then I'm using the chia seed, and as I said before, these white chia seeds, and I grind them out. I use the white one of these because it keeps the dressing, the colour of it, nice and light. If you've got black chia seeds at home, you can use them as well, but the dressing might go just like the colour a little bit greyish, so it doesn't look.
How do you grind them up?
I just use one of these blenders really, so I've just and I try to do it like step by step in tiny amounts, and then use the store the ground up ones in the fridge, because the omega-3 fatty acids, which is like the really good stuff in chia seeds and flax seeds, what we want in our bodies, they can go rancid really easily and lose power. Hiya, come on in. Yeah, there's still a few seeds in there. And so I don't usually do like, I filled this jar just for the presentation today, but I usually do a small amount for myself that I use at home and then do it.
What's the reason for grinding up the chia seeds?
That makes it just easier to blend it up. So if you've got a really high power blender at home, you can do the whole chia seeds in, and if your blender gets it really nice and smooth. If your blender's not that powerful, then it just makes it easier if we've got them pre-grind. That's a word.
Should you keep it in the freezer? Because I keep my flax seeds in the freezer.
Yeah.
As soon as I ground them, I don't buy them ground because I don't know what state they're in, and they do start to deteriorate as soon as you grind them. So, and you can still pour it. They don't really stick together. So,
yeah,
that's
that even keeps the shelf life even longer if you store them in the freezer. But I do it in so small amounts usually that I use them so regularly that I don't feel the need. Like after 3 to 4 days, I do the next roundup. So So I'm also using miso in this chickpea. Hang on, I wanted to say something more for the chia seeds. So the chia seeds have the ability to really get sort of gelatinous really with liquid together. So, and that is the key in this kind of dressing in this vinaigrette to substitute the oil, because if the oil and the water phase of like the acid water that you put in a usual vinaigrette, I really like to get this together. This is what the chia seeds are for in this vinaigrette, to make it really like puree consistency that feels like an oily vinaigrette, but it is not. My next ingredient is miso paste, which is fermented soybeans and give a nice salty flavour to it. I use this. You could use salt as well if you want to avoid soy. If you're allergic to soy and don't want to use, you can just use normal salt if you want to. It's perfectly nice for my personal taste. But if you need to avoid soy, use salt. Or there's also chickpea miso on the market by now, which is fermented chickpeas instead of fermented soybeans. So you could use that as one as well. And the fermentation that it goes through is just something that's very beneficial for our gut health as well. So also I do like this. With all the ingredients I put in my dressing. I follow the recipe, but usually make recipes to give it away to people, not to have it as a document and to follow it all the time through. Because like sometimes it sticks a little bit more, I just feel that day a little bit more in this direction, or add a little pinch of that. So play with your own flavour, give it a go how the recipe is, and then see if you want to add a little bit more of this or a little bit more of that. And that's what I, in general, encourage people to do with recipes. Yeah, just generally. So do what you're doing, trust your taste buds, go through it while you're cooking, taste it and see what happens in your body. Do you feel happy when you taste it? Does it resonate with you when it sticks to your tongue or whatever? So just add what you want to add. So the next one I'm going to add is mustard powder. If you've got mustard made up in a jar in your fridge, you can use that as well. Mustard quite often has like added vinegar as well, or salt, or some other preserves.
Yeah, preservatives.
Yeah,
Yes.
preservatives. Yes. Added to it, so sometimes I'm not quite sure what it is actually, if it is the vinegar 100% vegan, is it not? So, and also the mustard powder stores really well, I don't need to store it in the fridge.
Oh yeah, hi,
Sorry, come in.
Sorry, just can't hear.
No, I do understand. Yeah, it's a bit
It's all right, I'm working on it.
Do I need to speak up?
Pardon?
Do I need to speak up a little bit?
I'm just,
It's got funny accent.
Yeah.
you're pretty good, thank you.
But yes, please speak.
Okay.
It's also articulation as well.
Okay. Yeah, that's yeah, as she said, I'm German, so this is not my mouth.
Ja, das ist wichtig.
Oh yes.
I'll introduce you to the German afterwards if you want to.
Yeah, I'm Nordic origin.
Okay.
Norwegian.
And I'm also adding a little bit of cardamom. There's just something that I've played with as I developed this recipe, and found that I quite like it in here.
But it could be optional, that one.
Yes, yeah. There's just, if you don't like cardamom, just leave it out. Omit it. And I'll just grind a little bit of pepper in it, like completely. random feel like how I feel. And then I add some water.
Could you use the water that you've soaked the dates in?
Yes, absolutely. So I use filtered water as well to soak the dates, and they don't release any negative stuff here. Like if you soak nuts or seeds, for example, you don't want to use the water. But with dates, you can absolutely use that one and have a little bit more sweetness in there too. Definitely. So that is all to this vinaigrette. I just pop it in here. Make a little bit of noise now. And just leave it run, let it blend until it's smooth.
So you triple that to the stew well.
Yes.
Because I've got it in my mind to taste it.
Yeah.
It's too much.
Yeah. No, I said at the beginning, and it works really well in here too.
Yeah.
I'm just using the big one because I'm doing that recipe, but this works all right, John.
Now I introduce these, and you're letting it go.
Whatever you want.
Yes. So I do smaller amount, I usually use smaller
I'm doing the
smaller.
This is all Dr.
Smaller one. But it's like little big set tables here.
Yeah. Side dish as well. That is she's saying that.
Yeah, we need to
Pop it in the freezer of the fridge.
And no, you can, well, it's a keep longer, but it does keep it well. It's well done. So, she just had some question of stuff that I said at the beginning. So there's now all good. This seems to be quite liquidy. With the chia seeds, as I said before, they go gelatinous, so this thickens up when it sits. That's probably the main reason why I did this first, because it sits before we're going to eat it. So, and I'll go straight. Does anyone have any question to this dressing so far?
How long can you keep the dressing for?
That's a good question. So I would do, it does definitely need to be stored in the fridge. And because of the lemon in there, the acidity keeps it fairly well. So at least 1 week in the fridge. And depending how cold your fridge is or how often you go into the jar. So if you make a bigger amount, I tend to pour into 2 little jars instead of going to 1 big jar, because that means the second little jar can sit unopened in the fridge while I'm using up the first one. And then it keeps longer. If I go have 1 big jar and it's out of the fridge regularly, it's open regularly, then it doesn't keep so long. Or if you go in with a dirty spoon, for example, then obviously it doesn't keep that long either. But yeah, if you use two smaller jars, then it should last at least 1 week. Depending if your fridge is fairly cold, it can sit up to 2 weeks. In my personal experience,
Would it freeze?
I haven't tried that. I don't know.
I'd like to make a big batch so I'm not
Yeah.
around all the time.
So what I sometimes do with other stuff is that I put in like ice cube containers to make it easy to just to thaw out like little amounts. Sometimes with like acidity, with acid stuff, that goes a little bit funny in the freezer. It gets like this little layer of stickiness on it. So I haven't tried it with this one yet. But I can give it a go and let you know. Yeah.
leave your email address and we'll let you know.
You had the water temperature at say 65. Would that help to gel the chia?
Yes, probably. It would make it a little bit faster, but also 65 is probably still okay, but I wouldn't like it really warm because of the vitamin C from the lemons. The vitamin C is heat sensitive, thank you for that word. So, and also if you then store it in the fridge to cool it down to have on your salad, because it's definitely nicer eating it cold on your salad. And if you store it in the fridge anyway, then it's long time, the time is enough to gel it up. And if you make it once and think like it is too liquidy for you, just use a little bit less water, put a little bit more chia seeds in if your preference is a different consistency. Okay, and I'll move on to the next dressing, which is a carrot and ginger dressing. Yeah, that was fun to play with as I developed the recipe. And what I'm doing here, I've got organic carrots, so I'm not going to peel them. I washed them before, so I'm just going to chop off the tops and then chunk it in the blender. The blender will take care of it to get it smooth. Here again, I'm doing like a fairly rough amount, depending on how big your carrots are. I'm not a big fan of keeping half a carrot in the fridge. I'm just chucking it in as well. I'll do this, and I'm using ginger. I really like ginger, so I'm using quite a big amount of ginger. I'll do the same here. This is nicely organic ginger that I bought yesterday, really fresh, and I gave it a good wash. And a lot of good stuff in ginger actually sits in the peel, so I'm just not going to peel it. Just see some like hard, like really stalky stuff that get off it, but the rest of it goes into the dressing as well. The blender takes care of it to get it smooth, and we don't lose so much goodness. If you can't find organic ginger, then please peel it before you use it.
Did you buy the ginger from the market? You said you bought it yesterday.
I bought it actually in the organic grocery shop that is next to Bin Inn. Yeah. I couldn't find organic on the market.
There's a lady in the farmer's market called Nye. Go to the farmer's market right at the end of the name. Nye, sorry. You often have organic.
Yeah.
That's where I get mine from. I'm sorry, my apologies. I knew your face. Embarrassed.
Don't be. I'm using coconut cream in this dressing. And what I'm looking for is I brought 2 different brands for you to just have a look. I usually buy this organic as well, but the main thing I'm looking for when I'm buying coconut cream is that it has no additives, because a lot of coconut cream have thickeners in them, have acidity regulators in them, have some kind of additives in it, and that's something that I just don't want to put in my body. So I always look out for it's just coconut and water. The different brands have different percentages of how coconutty they are. My main thing that I'm looking for is just no additives, and it's mainly the organic brands that don't have it. So I'm gonna use this one today because this one has an easy opener and it didn't bring a can opener.
I think where do they sell the essential brands? That's in Canton. I think essential is actually quite. It's got no lot in it. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. There's just
'Cause-
one that I've found that's and it's in the green.
I think I am as well.
Okay. Yeah, quite often in the supermarkets, the standard ones have some kind of additives, and it's sometimes a little hard to find. I'm going to use the double amount is 8 tablespoons, so there's 4 of these, And I'm just gonna dig in. If you store your coconut cream in the fridge, then you quite often the thick part sits at the top and the water at the bottom. So if you like the dressing really nice and thick, you can do that beforehand and just use the really thick cream and keep the water to put in your next smoothie later on. It is nothing bad with the coconut water. Some recipes say just use the cream and discard the water. That doesn't make any sense to me personally. So now I lost count of it. I'm just adding another.
It's fine.
It's fine. So I'm using for this one a red wine vinegar. And I personally find it just gives a little bit of nice different direction of vinegar. If you don't have it, like it's absolutely fine to use just an apple cider vinegar or whatever kind of vinegar you've got at home is your preference. I like this red wine in this dressing. I'm going to use ground chia seeds again in this one, and what I've found with this one, the main reason why I'm using this in this dressing is to combine the oily phase, the coconut cream, with the water that I'm going to put in later on. If you don't have chia seeds, the dressing works absolutely fine without, but if it sits in the fridge, it just separates the different phases, and the chia seeds keep it combined together. So if it separates in your fridge, if you haven't used the chia seeds, just give it a stir before you use the dressing. That's the same thing. That's the same thing for the function, but also using chia seeds adds like a nice portion of omega-3 fatty acids, which we usually have like not enough of in our diet. We quite often get too much omega-6 and omega-9 fatty acids and all the other foods that we use, and nuts and seeds. And the only seeds that are actually really high in omega-3 fatty acids are chia seeds and flax seeds. There's some like hemp and walnuts have like a fairly nice amount of it as well. And the reason why we want to look out for it and get the omega-3 fatty acids a little bit further up is because they are anti-inflammatory, have an anti-inflammatory effect on our bodies, and the omega-6 and omega-9 fatty acids have like a pro-inflammatory effect. So we just try to aim to get more of it in, so there's another beneficial reason to put some chia seeds in your dressing.
The recommended daily amount is 1 to 2 tablespoons.
Yeah.
So I've got them in the freezer, and I'll be putting them in my either in a smoothie. I have an occasional smoothie, or my oats. They go really easily in there. But this is a great idea to put them in the dressings as well.
So now I'm just putting some spices in. I use turmeric, cumin, coriander, and a little bit of cayenne pepper. I do that separately. You can also just use your favorite curry powder if you've got a blend at home that you like using. Just use that one instead of the individual spices. I personally I'm quite sensitive to spice, so I just put a tiny amount of the cayenne pepper in because it gives it a really, really hard kick, cayenne pepper. And during my testing phase with this recipe, the first batch got me all sweaty straight away. So I was like, okay, use a little bit less. And then again, I'm using a little bit of water in this one. Not as much as in the other one because I already had the coconut cream in here, and I want this really thick and creamy. make sure this one is all down there. And then same thing, I'll just put the lid on, blend it till it's smooth, and then it's done. So, might feel like it's taking a little bit long, but that's just me really talking about what I'm doing. Once you've got your ingredients sitting and the table's really just chucking everything in, get it smooth, done.
Did you have a question? Did you want to ask something?
I'll get to that. That hood cancels out quite a lot of the noise, but it's still a little bit noisy. So the question was going through the spices again that I used, and I used turmeric, cumin, coriander, and cayenne pepper. And but as I said, that like if you don't have the individual spices at home, or you've got your favorite curry blah mix brand, you can just use your favorite curry powder instead, because that is mix of those, mostly those ingredients as well. So just play with it. Thank you. Okay, any more questions to this dressing so far? Okay, we'll go straight into the next one, which is, I call it tofu mato cream. I use tofu in it. Oh yeah, I'll hurry through this a little bit because time is obviously moving around. This tofu again, because it's soy, I try to buy organic. I make sure to buy organic to not have GMO soy. And I wanted to, yeah, do you want to, if you want the recipe?
No, I'm computer, but I'm getting her.
Oh, yeah, I'll do it.
Okay, sweet. Thank you.
Very nice.
Thank you. Most of the tofu blocks that you can buy are either 300 gram or 450 gram. So I'm using, the single recipe is 150 gram, and I just made it that way to make it easy to just have half a block or a third of a block. For this one, again, because I'm making double the recipe, I just chuck the whole block in. So, and I'm using sun-dried tomatoes. And sun-dried tomatoes is quite another different challenge to get that oil-free, because in the supermarket you get those jars that are marinated in oil. But I managed to find 2 different brands in Countdown, so this is really accessible, and they're both oil-free. This one is semi-dried, so they're still a little bit soft, and this one is marinated in vinegar and spice mix, but it's oil-free. So these are definitely two brands that I recommend looking out for. Sometimes you can find sun-dried tomatoes completely dried, like in a bulk food store in a bin in, and if you find them and they are like quite dry and not marinated, just soak them in water before, maybe in the fridge overnight to get them nice and soft and juicy again. And that's it. I don't just use this right out of the jar because I didn't bring a fork, did I? No, but I've got this one. I use them just right off the jar because they are marinated in this nice vinegar mix, so they are nice and soft to use. My next ingredient for this one is just garlic, and garlic, like exactly the same thing with anything else as well. Go for your own preferences, taste preferences. If you're not a garlic fan, just leave it out or use just a tiny amount. If you like wandering or not around at midnight, chuck in as much garlic as you want to. I don't use a garlic press usually. I just cut it. The blender itself takes care of it anyway. What is a nice trick to know is if you use your garlic, well, sometimes it can be really difficult. Hi, lovely to see you come in. That's all right. Have a knife. Put it on your board. Have a knife. Just put a little bit of pressure on it. Crush it, and then it's like fairly easy to just in one go get the peel off. This is quite a big one, so I'm not going to use all of it. So I don't want to scare you away. Put some lemon juice in there as well. It's the same thing that I did before. I'm doing some rolling to get the juice out of it. The next ingredient that I'm going to put in is nutritional yeast. I don't know if someone of you is not familiar with it by now. There's quite a magic ingredient in the vegan kitchen. It has a little bit of a cheesy flavor. So if you do your cheese sauce yourself, that is really good to use, and it also has heaps of B vitamins in it. So it's not just yummy, but it's also like adding a lot of nutrient to your dishes. I've got the nutritional yeast here. Use 2 spoons. Feel free to come up later on and give it a sniff if you don't know what it is, if you haven't worked with it before.
As far as brands and sources, do you have a particular nutritional yeast that you like? Because they seem to vary quite a lot.
Yes, they do vary. So this one is actually the what is it? The yellow shaker bruck? Is it
Bragg's.
Bragg's?
Yeah.
So this one is Bragg's. I quite often also get it from just a bike food store or a bin inn, which is I tend to go not for the brewer's yeast,
Yeah.
but it just varies a little bit in taste. This one is just the standard go-to, but you can get it cheaper in a bin inn.
Yeah.
It again depends a little bit on your personal preferences. I don't mind either of them, and I don't really feel like they have like too much of a difference in their final product. I'm gonna put a mixed herbs in here, Italian mixed herbs, because it just really goes well with the sun-dried tomatoes. If you just have oregano or basil, or even if you've got like a nice garden with fresh herbs at home, please use your fresh herbs, it's great.
Could you also use those little cherry tomatoes? Or is it too much to use them?
You probably could. I haven't tried it with them. I would definitely reduce the water then that I use. And with the sun-dried tomatoes, because they are like slightly dried, they are like just have more a little bit of a condensed flavour to it. So getting the same tomato taste, you probably would need to use quite a lot of cherry tomatoes and then end up with quite a liquidy dressing. But again, if you want to do that, just use your chia seeds again. Just put some chia seeds in to soak up the liquid and give it a go. I haven't tried it with fresh tomatoes, but give it a go. I'm using salt in this one, and this is natural sea salt. I've also got the pink Himalayan salt that I quite often use. Don't know if any one of you have just been just before me to Z's talk, he talked something about using iodine salt, like the standard table salt, and I've got the same opinion as he has, that it's just like stripped of all its nutrients. It's a processed salt that I personally don't like to use. I go for the sea salt or the Himalayan pink salt because it has all the minerals and nutrients still in it. Going again a little bit of pepper. And then some water, and then I'm going to blend it again. And we're getting tight in time, so while it's blending, if some of you want to come up to the front already and give those dressings a taster, feel free to come up, ask any questions, pop your email address down if you want me to send you the recipes. Okay, I'll put this one in, so you've got the third one nice as well. This one, you can absolutely steam green veggies and use it as you did. Pour it over in just your, also like just a leafy salad, it goes really well. If you so make this with a little bit less water and goes really thick, that's like perfect as a dip for veggie sticks. Okay, just before everyone leaves, on behalf of Whangarei Expo, I'd like to say thank you. Aww, thank you.